Yeah. So this TVT, I think one of the most we got that out of the way. I don't think we're really going to see any proxies between these two players, but I would not be surprised if we see a lot of aggression. One thing that I mentioned to you, Kozan, before as well, is that what we've seen from Byun, even with this new leveled up style, is that when he's facing off against opponents like Maru,
yeah,
usually what would happen is he would play, a standard, somewhat aggressive opening, go to the mid game, and you try to end the game there with, stim Marines, constant attacks. And unfortunately, that's kind of where players like Maru and Cure, who are very solid macro players, are very strong. But more recently, he has shown a willingness to just completely say screw that and go for these hyper aggressive early game plays, constant trades around the map, and force the game into really weird situations. That's how he had this insanely, I'm thinking back to this insanely close series he had with Maru, which I think even though the score ended up being 3-1 or 3-0, the games were so close just because he constantly forced them into these awkward situations where Maru's insane macro wasn't really able to take over. Now, that was on the old map pool. Those were a lot smaller maps usually, a lot faster rush distances. We really don't have any maps like that aside from maybe, Royal Blood has a shorter rush distance, maybe, but so we'll have to see if that changes how these two approach this matchup.
It could, right? Because if there's just more open area, there's more sensor towers you would be having to put down. There's more distance you might have to run from one side to the other if your opponent is suddenly coming from the other side of the map, right? It's in TVT in particular, I would see it as a very big deal, yeah. As it is so much about whether or not you're already set up, and if your opponent, finds its way through your lines without you noticing in time. Sometimes it could just end the game. And yeah, and if there's just more avenues, if the map is wider or bigger, allows for more of those areas, then it's more difficult to stay on top of all of those things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so, I'm really excited to see what we get from these two players. I think these openings that you're seeing are pretty standard. We have the Reaper into Reactor for Cure here, into the factory. So nothing too crazy going up into those, that 3 Hellions, or 2 Hellions and 3 Reapers. Byun has kind of opted for a little bit of a more, I'd say, tech-focused opening, where you actually just emit the 3rd Reaper and the 2nd Hellion. It's still fine, and I think especially on a big map like this, unless Cure was being really aggressive, it's not going to hurt him at all, and he's getting out a faster Cyclone, should be getting out a faster tank, and you see that his starport is done just a little bit ahead of his opponents.
Yeah, he's just going to have that safety here with that Cyclone now, pretty much for most of the things. I suppose if something did get proxied, right, you might be in a little bit of trouble if you're trying to go this route of Byun. Especially, if you're not scouting at all. He's been out with his Reaper a little bit, but that's all he's seen, and that's kind of the MO of Byun sometimes, isn't it? He just puts full faith in his builds, and it's cool to see. It works out a lot of the time.
Yeah, this is actually even more aggressive here from Cure. This is 5 Reapers, 3 Hellions, so a lot more pressure that he can put out. Yeah, the Cyclone should just come over immediately. Good lock on there onto the Reaper, and actually Byun with some great focus fire here, knocking down the low health units. And again, this is I think this is why Byun opted for this opening, even though it's less early skirmishing power, he's able to get out enough units because of that, just slightly, these maps being a little bit long, able to get out enough units that he can defend that fairly well.
Yeah, open up the units lost tab. That's a great start, I would say. Didn't completely tied up. There we go. It's a good sign for the rest to come.
Yeah, and we're seeing that tank difference also coming through, especially with Cure committing the additional set of Reapers and Hellions. That tank is very, very delayed. So right now we're actually seeing, I think, Byun at 2 tanks, starting his 3rd, when Cure is only just now about 10 seconds away from getting his first tank. So it's going to be really hard for Cure to push. And so yeah, he takes his 3rd command center, is going to just be fine with kind of handshaking this into a macro game. But this is a macro game where honestly it feels like Byun is really, really comfortable.
Yeah, starting things off here. I mean, Cure still has maybe a little bit of an opportunity to deny Byun from floating out 3rd base across, but I suppose there's a similar opportunity here for Byun to have a couple of units just, arrive at that 3rd base and force it to lift up. Or even if you send something really quick there, I don't think you want to at the moment, as, you know, you do have this army of Q on you from step, but... Well, let's see. The siege tanks of Byun are still a little bit far away, but... that does allow Q to just take this place. Oh.
Yeah, this is a bit of a hard push. The tank's gonna get in position, but I think Byun could just, counter, disable the tank, and Haze is gonna come online first. Also gets rid of the Cyclone lock on right before his Raven dies. And this is just a solid hold here from Byun. Takes down the tank, and now Cure really doesn't have a position to push. He has a third Raven that he invested into, but you've already lost the tank, and that's really the pushing power. That allows you to stay in this position. Now Byun can just kind of inch his tanks forward and eventually take that third base in a good time.
Yeah, well, there is another tank, but it... Okay, Cure does see those siege tanks of Byun, the two ones up there on the top. It's a nice position, you know, it's very easy for Cure to try and just kind of walk towards that area and suddenly, oh, wait a moment, siege tanks. And you just lose your Cyclone, so you take a boatload of damage on your own siege tank already, and you're just gonna have to leave at that point. But yeah, he is still doing this, right? He is still... He's mining on his own third base. That is happening now.
Yeah,
So
I mean...
if he keeps this up for just a couple more seconds, somehow, some way, I mean, he's gaining a little bit out of it, even though he didn't trade as efficiently. He may want to get more out of it, but...
Yeah, and eventually backs up here because I think he realizes that he doesn't want to overstay. He doesn't want to lose anything. He doesn't need to. Oh, Byun! Why does he have Marines there? Oh, that's great. Just snipes two Ravens because he has Marines across the map.
How did he know? How did he know that would happen? Even if he's like... that would be difficult to do, even like if someone's stream cheating or something like that. You know, that's like... Wow, okay, fantastic.
No, that was perfect timing there from Byun. Right before the sensor tower goes up as well. That hurts. Those Ravens, I mean, they get value over time, and so losing two of them just like that, while Byun still has his own two that have been building energy this whole time, you're not really happy with that situation. And now you're going to have Byun counter push across this map. He has Stim. He's going to have his 1-1 faster, and he also has 7 tanks.
Yeah, 7 versus the 4 of Cure. 2 of those are now disabled as well, so only 1 tank helping out this situation. As Byun, look at that spreading he's doing with his units. That's very nice to see. Great control. Ooh, that might be it here, Titan. That might be it. That's a good position to be at with, what, 5 siege tanks? My goodness.
Yeah. And you just see how much it hurts to lose those Ravens. You don't have the auto turrets. You don't have additional interference matrices. Byun just pushed this. He knows he has an advantage in the army.
Yeah.
And yeah, he has 1-1. GG Byun. A perfect timing attack. Just ends it in 8 minutes.
Yep. It's going to be... Again here with no SCVs moving across the map. In all honesty, I thought that would be a little bit more prevalent. Not just like the barracks all the way across the map, but also just the barracks that is kind of hidden in your natural base or stuff like this, right? I thought, at least from Byun, we would be seeing a bit more of those mind games. But no, we're just sticking true to the classics for the time being.
I mean, I forget which series it was. I don't know if it was Bunny versus Byun, Cure versus Byun, or like Bunny Cure. One mixture of those three. Like, ooh, I want to say 2-3 years ago, there was one time they played a TVT, and tell me if you remember this.
Okay.
But it started with one player cheesing by floating one barracks into the opponent's main and making units. And making Concussed Marauders. And then the next game, the other player who got cheesed floated 2 barracks into his opponent's main with concussive shells. And then they went back and forth with that, and eventually it was answered. I
remember that. That was a really good laugh that day. That was just the, oh man, the cojones and those players that do that type of stuff. Sometimes it's amazing. It's like... They're just in a humorous mood, these StarCraft 2 players now and again, and yeah, it's great. Those are great days when when they both are. Yeah,
and honestly, yeah, that might have been Cure versus Byun. I'm not entirely sure.
I feel like Maru may have been involved as well, but I could be wrong, or maybe TY even.
Ooh. Oh, it might have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
right?
would make sense if it was TY.
It does sound like a very much a TY kind of thing to do, you know, being like, you know what, I'm just gonna double brain power you and just make 2 barracks to proxy Marauder. Something like that. I don't want to put it past him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when you're... We've seen it. It's like the Maru effect. When you're the best TVT player, you really can do whatever you want.
Yeah, true, yeah. Yeah, that win rate of his... Woof.
Oh, man.
It's so...
Yeah, and he was playing while casting as well. Like, sheesh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's... you know, I always said that casting does improve the brain functionalities overall. It's clear, it's proven. That's why, you know, we're so great at what we do.
Yeah. We're top 100 GM, obviously.
We're top class in everything that we even try to do. Although, of course, we can't always try our best because it would take too much out of us. It would be too much effort. All right.
Yeah,
so what's the special? What's the deviations here? I'm not seeing that many actually. The starboard for Byun already done, right? Yeah, he is building his tech lab on that, so it's still kind of lining up the same way here.
Yeah, I think what happened, Cure only went for the 2 Reapers. The Dragon Scales is a little bit of a bigger map. I think, yeah, I think it's a slightly longer rush distance. So he just said, I'm going to go for the 2 Reapers. These can poke out and then get into my other tech quicker. Byun, again, I think stock standard opening from him, he's doing the exact same thing. And that's perfectly, I mean, that's Byun. You know, if he has an opening that he's comfortable with, he'll really focus on that opening and then usually have multiple different ways that he can then transition it. But what I find interesting here is that Cure has not really been taking advantage of the fact that he didn't build anything out of that factory. He built a tank and then canceled it, and then he started building a Cyclone, then canceled it to get his Raven, and then built the Cyclone. So that timing is kind of evened up for these players on their production, and Byun's just going straight into a 3rd command center a lot quicker again.
Yep. Yeah, a slight lead in that tank count as well. Just by 1. But hey, it's something. It's something. Ravens. Byun sticking to the 2 Ravens. I'm thinking Cure might go for 3 again. Yes, he is. Okay. So similar stuff there. If he doesn't lose them this time around, he might have that Raven advantage, which could be tremendous. And like, honestly, I don't expect him to lose his Ravens like that again, right? That was just so random in a way. Like, if Byun does that again, right, we're gonna have to take into account that potentially, right, he knows that that's going to happen. If he sends those Marines out, he's got a good chance. And like overall, like I'm thinking about it more, it's not that far of a stretch, right? Because you know those Ravens, they like to be a little bit quicker than the rest of the units now and again. And you do have to send those units back eventually, because that's just kind of how the game goes. So like, it's not unthinkable, right? But yeah. I mean, maybe I'm putting too much into that. Anyway.
No.
Yeah, moving in here. Other turrets being dropped down as there is a siege tank being interfered with as well. SCVs are going to have to be pulled, it looks like, but they don't want to. They decide, you know what, that's too much for us.
Yeah, I think Kier thought he would have a second interference matrix. He actually didn't for that second low ground tank, and so Byun was able to hold off long enough with the auto turrets that the tanks fired enough, got the Marines low, and now we're actually seeing, yeah, Vikings have to drop across the map. The 3rd base is delayed here for Cure. Cyclone can help push this Raven away. And yeah, a little bit of a sloppy trade there. Cure loses 2 Ravens again. This time just to the straight up push, and now these tanks are going to move down, and again, Byun just trying to take advantage of the fact that he has a little bit more. Great lock on with the Cyclone. I mean, you lose it, but you get the Raven, as now these tank shots going to go down. They can 2-shot the tanks that are left here for Cure. And it's a nice contain, but I don't think that Cure can really push it. You know, you have to go up the ramp if you want to do that. The Vikings are here, but I believe Byun has some medevacs on the way. He actually doesn't have any air units just yet. So Cure can hold this for a little while, but yeah, he doesn't want to risk it because you got 3 tanks up there on the high ground. If you try and push it all, it's too dangerous, and then if you wait too long, Byun can just walk down the ramp and kill you.
Yeah, exactly. No, he really just wants to delay Byun's 3rd base here, even by a couple of seconds, right? If it's 20 seconds, hey, it's still an okay margin. That's going to give Cure some extra money over Byun, especially now that the trading that has happened so far. hasn't been as far apart as it was previously. Both of the players lost all their Ravens, so it's a lot less likely that Byun is going to be able to just push across the map here.
You say
so?
that, but
You think
you
so?
got there's a stim advantage here for Byun. He's got
He's
1-1 on the
22
way.
Marines.
I don't know if he wants to push into those tanks though.
Look at
Yeah.
that setup. That's a nice spread on those tanks right there. Oh boy. Yeah, that's one way of avoiding it. That is one way of avoiding it.
It's a classic Byun move here. As actually, wow, Kira kept one Reaper alive and is now going to find.
He's gonna get, he's got a mule as well. Oh, imagine.
Oh wow.
If he gets more here, that would be great. Byun is not sending those Marines. He might get another SCV here.
The Hero Reaper.
Yeah?
Oh, the Marines. No, Cure. He didn't
Focus.
click it on the SCV.
He's got other things
here
to
we
worry
go.
about. This is the big ball running in right now. Those two medevacts, the two siege tanks.
Oh.
As Kyo, he's going to have to find a way out of this situation. He's got to be careful not to oversend too many units here. As Byun is ready with another full step pounds as soon as that third base gets evacuated. And wow, this is already great stuff here.
Yeah, forced the lift off. I mean, you can tell there Byun, if he had, oh my god, if he had a medevac with that other army, he would love to just dive on top of those tanks. He's not able to, but he gets 17 SCVs just with that little 2 medevac committal. And back at home, I mean, you lost a few to the Reaper, but you're fine with that because you're still fully saturated on this third base. And I mean, yeah, you get 5 barracks versus 5 barracks. 4th command center though on the way for Byun. I don't think Kira's even thinking about starting his 4th.
Yeah, he is just in a pickle here now, isn't he? He's still trying to saturate his natural base. He's just gotten the refineries back there, and yeah, he did seemingly have enough Viking numbers. He just wasn't aware of the medevac movement there, and that's just one of those very small things that if you're just not, you know, then very quickly you could start to fall behind that way. He might be able to do the same thing to Byun, of course. Yeah, I mean, at any point in time, but
yeah, both players have a few medevacs available here. Byun continuing to be active with his units, just poke around, and here we go. Kira sending out 2 medevacs with a group of Marines. Is just going to be stimming around trying to get information. Byun also sending a few of his own Marines out just to figure out what Kira's doing. And the stim underneath the command center, actually, it's going to be a pretty decent trade here for Kira with the medevacs around. And these 2 tanks actually don't know if they fight this. Byun is going to need some pretty insane micro here on these tanks with some repairs, but he doesn't have the repairs. That means the tanks are just going to keep firing away. But overall, yeah, Kira just finding a few nice trades here and there. Obviously, that 4th base timing is a bit scary because if you let Byun sit back, he's just going to get this massive economic advantage.
yeah.
But the upgrades have evened out, and so really I think the only thing that Byun is going to be able to push is the Marine count. He's already added on his additional 3 barracks to go up to 8, and so pretty soon Byun is going to have this massive swell of 2-2 Marines versus, I mean, already Kira's at about a little less or a little more than half the Marines of Byun. That's only going to get a larger difference as these 8 barracks finish up.
Yeah. Yeah, only the 2 siege tank lead, that might not be enough once you're on 4 bases and stuff like that, right? Because it's just so spread out that Marines sometimes become a better tool just because you can have them all together very mobile and run into one place, take out a siege tank or 2, and then just get out of there again.
I love how active Kira is.
Yeah, Kira is so active, isn't he? Very good to see.
Yeah, I think recognizing that while he doesn't want to fight with the army, just trying to slow down Byun as much as possible right now is absolutely worthwhile. Yeah. You see Byun has already started up his 3-3, 2 tanks at a time for both players. Means that tank count is going to start to just get really, really big. And I mean, the one advantage here for Kira is that he has had no issues just building up his Viking count and getting into additional starports. And this is usually where we see Byun's particular style of TVT start to falter, is when you're looking at these late game transitions into the Sky Toss mix that is so powerful with how many spellcasters it has. As Byun, it's again looking to push this location, but plenty of tanks in position, although the siege up, nothing to really stop it. That should just be a tank going down, although just barely out of range, and the Vikings here are going to be able to push back the medevacs just fine.
Oh, he denies those 2 mineral patches, which is, you know, something. Slows down Kira here in retaliation, and he's still fully mining on his own 4th base, so again, you know, slight differences here and there that they're scraping away from each other.
I mean, yeah, it's still just a worry of this late game transition. I mean, you're going to be looking at Cure here with about 4, I believe, starports. Byun only with 1, still just, I mean, just sitting on a few medevacs. It's so hard to push your opponent, even if you have a lead, when you don't have this, when you don't have that Viking count. And look at this, Cure just has most of his Marines here, catches out so much, but at the same time, Byun drop in the main. He says, listen, I don't care if you have the air advantage, I'm just going to circumvent those Vikings. And now what are you going to do? I'm on top of your production. If he can get the 3-3, that is absolutely massive. Armor goes down, focusing the attack as well. And this is a great move here by Byun.
Right, wants to get in here. There was one full medevac that did get shot down with Marines. It would have been even worse, this situation right now. And there we go, the medevacs now into the 3rd base here. Having another army to ferry over, and that's going to take out 4 more of these siege tanks. Cure quite quick with the response, trying to bring units across. But I don't know if that's going to be enough. Still has to unload them. And okay, does just barely hold on there for dear life. His supply is still okay. Where are these SCVs going? Stop it, boys. You've done enough. They felt very strongly about what just happened.
Yeah, we're seeing, I mean, Byun now with this massive Marine advantage, but he lost a lot of tanks for that. And so if he runs into a setup Cure, still's not really going to be able to end this game. He still has to play it patiently. He still has to really wait. I don't know if those medevacs were actually seen by the scan. I don't believe so. Cure's not moving his Vikings over. Byun, yeah, he's just going to send another Doom drop over. This could be very, very risky. I mean, Cure right now is seeing the units. Oh my god, Byun is playing a risky game right now. He knows that, listen, the strength of his army is how active it is, how many Marines he has. Is, oh my god, anti-armor missiles get on top of everything, but the Marine count is just massive here for Byun. He's going to dive on top of the tanks. Most of the tanks go down, and without them supporting the Vikings, they cannot hit the deck. They cannot support this. And that was just half of Byun's army. Now he's going to push with the rest. And that should be it. GG, Byun with the 3-3 advantage. Sniping it with a Doom drop. Finds the win in game 2.
Well played. Well played.
It ends up being a situation where this player on the bottom right is 2-0 up. He's on match point. He has swept his way through this Charity Cup so far. From Shopify Rebellion, ladies and gentlemen, he's your Red Terran. His name is Byun.
His opponent in the blue, it's a Dragon Phoenix gamer. It is Cure. The opposing Terran. Thank you all for mentioning the Red Cross, of course. That's why we're doing this. In the chat. Talking about the Red Cross stomping grounds right now. It's yeah, maybe. But what can we say? The games are still pretty tight there. It's still pretty close here and there, right? Because a lot of those moves from Byun, they were effective, but in the same sense, if those Vikings were on the other side of the base, or if there was one extra missile turret, or if Marines were a little bit closer to stim in, I mean, it's a quick way to throw a game, right? It's a very quick way to throw a game, but it did work out. I was thinking about this statement in the previous game. Sometimes it feels like when you're watching Byun play, it's like watching a man play with fire at a gasoline station or something like that, you know, with a big lighter, and you're just like, wow, he's doing amazing tricks, but it's very dangerous to do that here, isn't it? It's like, yeah, but he does them so well that he manages to curve around those dangers every time. It's or most of the time anyway.
Yeah, it's such a joy to watch Byun when he's in good form, and also in, like, you can tell when he's in kind of like a good mental space where he's feeling good and he's playing well, and it's great to see that, honestly. But yeah, I mean, as you said, this is the Red Cross Charity Cup, so this is for charity. There's a $1,000 prize pool that is set. All other donations, everything else goes to charity. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have a stretch goal. So, you know, we've had some amazing games. You want another stacked tournament like this with players like Raynor, Dark, Cure, Byun, Max packs, hero. Well, guess what? If we reach $1,000, that is our stretch goal. We are going to host another one of these tournaments with players of the same caliber. So it's, I mean, obviously, and all that money is going to go to a great cause. So head over to the Match Reno. There are sponsor quests where you can also donate directly. Everything goes to the Red Cross. And let's try and hit that, because I like this. I like having good games to cast.
Same, man. Same. I would love to have some more of these tournaments. And, you know, it's yeah. I feel, when I saw the list of players that were coming in, it's almost like, wait, what? How did we get all these guys to be here at the same day? So how is that possible? It's not a massive tournament, right? For like something like this, an online cup that we're doing for charity. It's amazing that these guys are willing to all be here, all these tip-top players. So big shout out to them as well, helping us out to enjoy our day and enjoy the charity even more so that we're trying to promote here. You know, make it a bit of a show, get some attention, get some eyeballs on the cars. And that's so a big shout out to the players there for their efforts.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's been great, and we still have, I mean, what I think is going to be an amazing finals. So, I mean, we're guaranteed a TVP at the very least, so people can breathe a sigh of relief. You're not going to have a mirror matchup in the finals. As much as the demon on my shoulder is like, another mirror matchup.
More TVT, yes. That's nice.
Oh my.
It's difficult. It's not going to happen here, no.
Yeah.
Unless
That's
it's
such a well-known
does
fact.
switch race, which we won't stop them from doing so, but
Max Pack suddenly plays Terran in the final.
who knows?
It's funny because it's such a well-known fact that I enjoy TVT, and that is a rare case that whenever I do replays, usually it's like, hey, here's a TVT. You want to cast this one?
Right. You just pick and choose the TVTs then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my choice, the TVTs. But yeah, I do have some interesting information for everybody here. So before this game, if you're looking at historical predictions based on current form, so current form is about the last, I believe, 3 to 4 weeks of play, Illegal makes a prediction. And I was like, I wonder what that prediction is now that we're sitting at this position where Byun is 2-0. And turns out, Byun was predicted to have about a 71% chance of winning. I was like, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. What about when he's up 2-0? And again, this is purely according to the math of Illegal.
Okay.
The chance of Cure
How
reverse
scary
sweeping
is
Byun
this? Okay.
is 5.54%.
Oh boy, that is extremely low for a professional games. Man, 5 point what? The combat is suddenly important now after because it's such a low number. My goodness, Cure. I mean, if he manages to get these games as an reverse all sweep now all of a sudden, that would be humongous then, statistically speaking.
And obviously that's just completely based off of, hey, Byun's in good form right now. Cure is playing well, but when you're looking at a player like Byun, who is historically, when he is playing at his best, looks like unbeatable it really
does.
Yeah. When you're looking just the map in that case, it is definitely a situation where you can look at that and say, okay, I understand. But looking at these openings, I think this has been a much better start for Cure. His third base was actually pretty on time with that of Byun. He's only behind about 3 SCVs, which is, I think, he's pretty happy with that. And obviously the 1-1 timing is the other thing that we're going to look at. Byun has been consistently ahead in that regard. And in the last game, Cure managed to catch up in 2-2. He got that a little bit faster before his 3-3 was denied, which kind of was what led Byun to be able to win that game with his Marines. But we're reaching another case where Byun can look for these 1-1 pushes where his Marines are just going to be so much stronger. And even though, yes, he has... I mean, actually, this game doesn't even have a lesser Raven count. I think Cure has made that adjustment finally. Says, all right, yeah, 3 Ravens when you are going for a more aggressive strategy is just not quite as good, because my early pushes are not finding the damage that I need. And so I can just go into the 2, focus on getting up an earlier stim, earlier upgrades, and those are going to be much more useful.
Okay, some action is occurring here. A small detachment of units of Cure is going across the southern side as Byun is trying to move through the center here. I almost called him Ben for some reason. I do have a friend called Ben, but that's not his name. It's Byun. Byunny boy is moving into intercepting this. Alright, let's keep that supply depot alive. Losing the one SCV that was building it. That's all okay. But yeah, I'm wondering if he... Okay, he's still starting to head out here. Usually we had Cure be the first player to be aggressive, but now Byun kind of taking these reins. Cure definitely looking to perhaps tighten it up a little bit against Byun. Which is a smart thing to do, right? If you're not finding a lot of success with the offensive play, maybe if you're gonna try to just play it a little bit slower, a bit more carefully, a bit more like a carefully orchestrated orchestra of siege tanks and ravens, maybe you're gonna find yourself some couple better trades, and that could lead you into a better situation ultimately. Oh wow!
Wait. This is a very, very early second factory here for Byun. It's already done. Or there we go. Yeah, it's just a little bit earlier than Cure's, but it's gonna have that advantage there with the tanks. And again, that's kind of a pattern we've been seeing. Both players right now sitting at 8. Byun will be able to have a kind of a moment where he's ahead, but it shouldn't be altogether that large. I think, yeah, so far this game though, very, very even. It's really just the 2-2. That is going to be this massive difference, but yeah, we've been seeing that with Cure's adjustments, with playing a lot more defensive, there's much less of an opening where that 2-2 is going to be as potentially damaging because he has his defenses set up. He's not losing units for no reason across the map, although Byun, very nice stim here, is going to be able to find a few Marines, and sitting at about 20 supply lead, I think I mean, he's got full map control really at this point. He even has groups of Marines out around the map. And Cure's struggling to just get out of his base.
Yeah, we're just seeing these very tiny marine skirmishes everywhere. Trying to have vision of what's happening, right? It's such a big deal to be able to see these big armies. And now, getting an eye on this right here, that's very nice for Cure. He knows that his siege tanks are in the right position right now. Doesn't have to move them quite quickly, although, be it, that's a lot of marines still coming in. He may need to move some of them. Looks like one of them in front of his orbital here is going to be enough to kind of subdue the advance of those red boys. Taking it a bit more seriously now. There we go, 4 siege tanks.
Yeah, it's still, I think, very worrying here for Cure. I mean, this is a... Oh, look at this. Byun going in on 2 fronts. Byun's just going to stim on in. Tanks aren't sieged up just yet. Byun has the advantage on the siege and the double prong. He's just going to stim on in. Wow. And Byun, with one decisive move, cuts through Cure's army. And he says, listen, you can sit back all you want. That's not going to help you. I'm going to find my advantages. I'm going to push them. And he just smacks Cure around.